Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with Angela Hiley in the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. How is it you do today?
I do fine.
What you say to me? Fuck my mother, I eat your shit.
That's wrong. Say who goes there.
We already told the story about that, didn't we?
Just say who
I'm going to
goes
get
there.
people on that at the Mobile Tech Expo.
Can you just say it?
So if any of you guys walk into the restroom and you hear somebody inside a stall sitting there and you see their pants pulled down to their ankles and just their shoes. You ever look at somebody's shoes when you walk into a restroom? Just take a peek in there and be like, what kind of shoes that person's wearing?
No, I do not do that.
Well, I'm not going to tell anybody what my shoes are going to be. But I'm going to do the whole thing where you come walking in and I'm going to say, who goes there? And I'm going to have my video recorder on. I'm going to see what responses I get.
This is going to suck because it's going to be in the men's bathroom and I wish I could be in there just to
Well, that's why
hear
I'll
what's
record
going
it.
on. I know.
Like, this is Sir Shitty Pants from the land of Poop-a-Lot. How dare you trespass on my tranquility?
Oh, this is going to be so good.
If you guys listen to some of my old podcasts, I got that from when at our old shop we had like this community restroom was horrible, and some of you guys even probably remember way back into the booger wall days, where that was actually talked about on PDR Tool Time original. That was the first original drop of the booger wall, and it was this disgusting restroom that was part of our old location, our old shop. And it was honestly, you just never knew what you were walking into at any point.
Because it was a bathroom that was shared among our business and then two other businesses.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the two other businesses...
They had a
some,
couple 400-pounders.
They had some dirty motherfuckers that would... it was horrible.
Oh, yeah, and then there was these people that would... I don't know if it's the same way in every city or if it just seems like there's these packs of gangs of people that like lay carpets. But what it seemed like at our location is they pulled up in these renegade vans. Like, you know, like you would think of these vans being the ones that somebody would joke and put, you know, free candy here or something like that on the vans.
The vans were like, I would say 80s style.
Oh,
right?
yeah, all of them.
The big ones.
And these things were like Road Warrior, some of them, you know? And the type of renegades that rolled on them were I'm talking about like Joe.
All of them were like heavy smokers.
Yeah, Joe Dirt. You know, there was mullets rolling up in that motherfucker.
I didn't saying it Joe Dirt. I think that's giving it a compliment right there.
It's like they just, I don't even know where they came from.
I know, right?
I would almost say probably like a trailer park, inner city Dayton.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, but that being said, it goes back to the restroom thing. You never know who you was going to get in there. And one day I walked in the restroom and some guy was in there and he goes, who goes there? And since then, I just thought it was hilarious. And then, of course, I told Wade about it, which any of you guys who know Wade, he's been on our previous podcast. Of course, Marissa gets totally like, she's like, why did you tell him that? And I'm like, I just thought it was funny. She goes, yeah, I know, but now you know that he's going to be doing that everywhere that he goes. So thank you for the dude behind the stall who goes there.
I know.
We may have started a movement.
Yeah.
We're going to see who goes there YouTube videos. Hey, who goes there?
The guy that you got in at Walmart.
Yeah. James? It's James in here. How dare you trespass on my tranquility?
Oh, shit, John Hiley. Some of this stuff.
Yeah, so I don't even know why we started off like that.
I don't know.
Well, I guess it is a segue of the Mobile Tech Expo is literally this coming up weekend,
Sure.
and everybody's getting in early here. I thought I was going to be kind of a little bit early, showing up on Thursday, but apparently, I got people see people on Facebook that are already there. Mike and Mary, they just landed today. It's actually, what is this, Wednesday? Is it Wednesday yet?
No, today's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And they just landed today, and everybody's getting geared up, and we're getting geared up to head over that way. Got a chance to talk with Craig from Anson today, and he's going to be releasing some new door tools that are going to fit on the Gorilla Grip, so I'm going to be bringing the Gorilla Grip.
Ooh.
There may be, I don't know, guys, be honest with you, I may be getting my entire stock cleaned out on the Gorilla Grips by tomorrow. If not, if my entire stock is not gone by tomorrow, it's going to be a very limited supply. There should be the totals on the website. I'm only going to put in the amount that I have, but I'm actually going to be doing a sale this weekend. If you don't see the sale, it's because I already sold them all. But if you do see a sale appear over this weekend, I'm blowing them out, and I'm not reordering them again until I feel like it.
Yeah.
I'm pulling back on the whole. Guys, I got so many things going on right now that shipping and doing all this stuff on the tool end of things, I'm going to be running the tactical handles more along the lines of the hammers. When they come, they come. When they go, they go. Now, I will tell you that some of our vendors can pick them up, but it's not going to be one of them things. The vendors will have to buy big quantities just to get them. So that being said, this weekend, if you guys haven't got one, you're thinking about it, I'm thinking I'm going to run a deal. If I don't blow them all out, I'm going to run a deal that's going to be really good. I'm not going to say what it is now, but I will say that it'll probably be either the same or even a little bit better than the Black Friday deal. So I'm cutting them out of here, guys. I'm tired of shipping shit. I'm just ready to get rid of them and then fire that up later. So many of you guys know we got so many things happening right now. We've got a big secret project that I can't tell you about.
Nope.
But that's some big-time official shit.
I know about it, right?
Yeah, you know about it. Of course you know about it.
I had a thing there.
The big project.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them going on. That's why she had to think through them. But, we also just kind of did a soft launch on our business management system that literally pretty much controls everything that you do from managing your business from start to finish. Meaning that it markets for you, it sends emails to your clients and customers, connects to your calendar, it actually collects reviews for you, and a bunch of other shit. We just did a video, it's on Dent Trainer. You guys are going to see more about that. But that's my primary focus this year. I got to pull back my focus on tools a little bit. I will have some tactical hammers that I'm going to run. We're waiting. I got to tell you guys, that's the pain in the ass about tools. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I mean, every time I've got some good manufacturers that I work with, but every time they're always late on orders. Things aren't coming through on time. I get an order from somebody else, but they can't finish it. I mean, it just seems like machine shops they're kind of just always in the habit of like pushing shit back, Mm-hmm. So you've got to constantly deal with that. And I refuse to order from China. I've had a lot of people tell me I was crazy because they could get some of the things manufactured at like a much cheaper cost than what I get it here in the States. But I'm not going to do that. I've also seen that backfire on people and become just a horrible situation. Yeah. Because some of the Chinese factories, especially, look, man, if you're only ordering 500,000 tools or even sometimes 2,000, you're really a small fish. And they will send you samples that look really nice and then load you down with something that's way worse, like a much shittier quality when they actually send the parts and all that kind of stuff. The fits won't be perfect. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be miscommunicated from the Chinese. I've had friends that had certain things built from the Chinese that ended up breaking. And just because of the quality of the actual metal that they use wasn't exactly what they said it was, mm-hmm. and they'll try to pull that shit. I even had a guy who had an order that ended up. A friend of mine had an order that they ended up losing it, and they only insured it for $200 Thankfully, he paid him with PayPal, so that's something you can put pressure on him that you can dispute it. But that was the only way he was able to get that type of stuff cleared up. I don't want to fuck with that, man. You know what I mean? I got, there's too much shit going on right now for me to focus on all of that. It's a lot of shit for a very little payoff. And as I said, I'm going to keep on rolling them out. I only have one manufacturer that I allow to purchase just the Gorilla Grips and just the T-handles, and that's Anson. So, you'll see them over there. But I'm blowing the rest of this stock out, and then I'm going to just bring back special edition stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's today's plan. I may change my mind by next week, but
no.
That is that's what we're doing moving forward right this second until I change my mind.
You do that quite often. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on this one. So that being said, I wanted to just talk about it. I mean, we definitely had. I just want to take one step back because probably I don't know whether it was like 5-10 podcasts behind this one. There was a podcast, I want to say that its name might have been Relentless. And in that book, Relentless, they talked a lot about Michael Jordan, but some breaking news, obviously. They talked a lot about Kobe Bryant in that book.
Yeah.
And just kind of crazy that Kobe and, guys, I want you guys to understand something about Kobe Bryant. If you listen to the book, you'd actually have a much greater respect, for that dude's mentality was insane.
Yeah.
Like insane. Like he was one of a kind, And they talk about that in the book, how like he even talked about how LeBron really didn't have that relentless attitude at that time the book was written. I believe LeBron probably fell into that category later on, especially when he pushed the Cavs to a championship. Maybe. But by definition in that book, the guy actually considered people that were at the highest level, he called them cleaners, people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley. He worked with a lot of basketball players, and he even was kind of framing this for people in business as well. And the name of the book is Relentless, and he talked a lot about Kobe Bryant's like intense drive. I mean, to the point to where he was the absolute hardest working individual with the strongest vision. I mean, the guy was an absolute just an amazing inspiration. In a day today where nobody has focus, nobody has vision, nobody has drive. That guy conquered all of them obstacles that we face every day. I mean, every day we have resistance that stops us from living our dreams. Mm-hmm. And people like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan have found a way in their minds to, I wouldn't know if it was 100%, but let's just say they've got really fucking close to completely beating out every aspect of resistance that has ever held them back from being the greatest version of themselves.
Yeah.
And, that's some really cool stuff. Actually, you found a quote, didn't you? Or 10 different quotes?
This is Kobe Bryant's 10 rules to success. Follow your passion. Find mentors. Don't fear failure. Have patience. Learn from failures. Focus on winning. Love what you do. Elevate others. It's one of my favorite right there. Protect your dreams. I love that one. And learn from the best.
Learn from the best. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's some great advice right there. And, from an individual like Kobe Bryant telling you to not only learn from the best, to protect your dreams, to find mentorship. That's also meaning that he was humble in his approach, because when somebody's not humble and they're super prideful, they don't feel that they have anything additional to learn.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that probably repels me from people at the highest level, is when I get around somebody that has an answer for everything and doesn't really open their mind to listen to anything that's going on around them. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would go to say that there's people that would be sitting right in front of experts. Like massive experts, and basically all they can think of is what they want to say. And that's the exact opposite of being humble. Humble is knowing that you always have something to learn and always trying to absorb from. And I like that he said mentors, because, that's key. There's a lot of folks out there that will give you advice, but the truth of the matter is a mentor is somebody that's further ahead than you. Mm-hmm. A mentor is somebody who's steps ahead. And the thing about that is, if you take advice from broke people, you're going to be broke. Mm-hmm. If you take advice from somebody who has not built a business and they're giving you advice on, what do we want to call this? Like the theology, right? Theological, advice on how to build a business, then you're never going to build a really good business, because they're not teaching you the things that a real business, somebody who actually walked the path, somebody who's actually walked the walk, can quickly get you to places that you could have, it may have taken you 10 years. Like literally somebody who is ahead of you. And I experience this now because, some of you guys might know, I work with probably one of the most expensive business coaches in the world, and the reason why I chose him is because he walks the walk. The guy's a multi-millionaire, and he is ahead of the game in so many ways. Ahead of me. He's ahead of me. I would have never hired somebody as a business coach that was beneath me.
Or at the same level.
They could tell me that they went through coaching practice here, they went through this school there, they learned this here, and I wouldn't give a fuck, because I was looking more for somebody that was ahead of the curve. And I can already see that literally he's taking the time that would have taken me to get from here to there and shaving off years and years and years, because he's able to move me forward, because he's already seen, he's already walked down that path.
Yeah.
He understands that path.
And you've known him for some time, and I think that
Yeah.
I think everything just kind of had to align itself up. You know what I'm saying?
You got to be able to afford the guy first.
Well, I know exactly, to afford him, but I'm just saying, prior you could have did it, but I just don't think that you were in the right.
I couldn't have done it when I was drinking still,
Yeah.
because to be honest with you, that shit was taking a lot of my a lot of time away from me, and it was taking. It's just like one of them things where you start off and it's doing it on the weekend, this weekend, then you skip a weekend, and you do it on the next weekend. But the next thing you know, you're doing it like every weekend, and then next thing you know, you're going out for drinks on Thursday night. And so on and so on. It was just becoming something that was a total time and energy waste for me.
Yeah, you definitely had to clear your mind.
I'm glad that I definitely recognized that. And you're right, I wouldn't have been able to get the value at that time. I'm not going to tell you guys how he did it, but I will tell you that within the first 2 months, he already paid for himself for the entire year.
Yeah.
So there's some small tweaks that were made in some of my business models that immediately excelled. So, the thing is, guys, is that I'm on the profit end of things now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of people got to understand is that, just like Kobe Bryant said, that whole mentorship thing, and he specifically used the word mentor for a reason.
Yeah.
Meaning that individual is way ahead of him. And Mike was actually telling him there's some meditation guy named Chopak something.
Yeah.
And actually, Kobe Bryant was working with him on meditation techniques, is what Mike was telling me today, or a couple days ago. Me and Mike talk about crazy shit. We talk about meditation. We talk about some of the things we do to make ourselves better. But I can understand why, because if you actually read the book Relentless, he probably had to begin doing something to turn the switch off in his head.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things as an entrepreneur, you got to realize that you'll begin getting addicted to the process, meaning that you create it as a habit. Mm-hmm. So when he was developing these crazy mindset skills, he wasn't just developing them as on the surface level. He was actually creating habits, meaning when he showed up there, he just fucking went like that.
Yeah.
When he showed up for practice, it wasn't that he had to try to be the hardest worker on the floor. He was the hardest worker on the floor. It came natural to him over time. Mm-hmm. And
that's why you can form good habits, and then you can form bad habits.
Of course. So they say Tiger Woods was right in that. He formed obviously some bad habits, but you know the interesting thing about that book, he actually said this. He didn't really. Tiger Woods was really the only one you could actually point out, but he said that they, like anybody who formed this relentless attitude, had something that they were doing that was a little bit in the wrong.
Oh.
Whether it was maybe like drinking too much occasionally, or
well, I know
there was, or in Tiger's case, having fucking porno stars come out and say that he was doing shit to them they ain't never even had done in the movies.
I mean, in all honesty, with a lot of basketball players, they kind of do, like with women, like, you know what I'm saying?
Line them up.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. I wonder if you guys have ever found that video that I made. And if any of you guys
stop talking about that damn video.
The video I made where I put the soft 80s porno music in it.
Why do we always have to bring this up for? Oh,
because it's the pleasure zone. Pleasure zone. Pleasure zone.
I think any athlete and probably other like very powerful men, they, you're gonna have like women groupies or whatever that are gonna try to,
And they walk around with their danglings out.
And, there's just, unfortunately, a lot of men that just don't have the willpower to, be thinking.
They Captain Morgan that shit.
Oh my God.
Do you have a little captain?
I don't want to be the captain. You're my captain, okay? Like, I'm cool with that. I don't ever want to be the captain.
Oh.
No, right. No. That is just
I'm saying
me.
they are being the captain.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just like when they conquer women like that, I kind of look at them as like that Captain Morgan. You know how he puts his like foot up on like on a chair or something.
Yeah, but Kobe Bryant
stands
was married,
there proud.
You know what though? His wife like stood by him when he, was
there
not being faithful to his wife.
Oh, there
yeah.
was some time that happened?
Yeah.
Well, we can go talk about that in respect for what happened.
But that's what I'm saying is like...
Hey, keep it on Tiger right now.
But he did
Tiger Woods was nasty, man.
But Tiger
You should have seen him.
You know what,
You should have seen him.
His wife probably, was well off after they got a divorce and whatnot.
Well, she was famous too, wasn't she?
I have no idea. His wife...
Or wait, was she a model?
No, I don't think she was
Why
a
did they
model.
marry them skinny ass bitches? Them tall, skinny bitches.
No, I don't think she was a model. No. She looked just like, an average woman. She didn't.
I bet her net worth is exactly half of Tiger Woods' net worth. Tiger Woods worth $500 million. His ex-wife worth $500 million.
I think they had a couple kids together, didn't they, or something?
Tiger Woods was on his way to being a billionaire.
I don't really know much about it. Oh, no. Yeah. Man, he tried to keep it together, didn't he? Didn't he deny that shit, too, for the longest time? And then it was like all hell broke loose.
On Relentless said that, and on that book, in that book, Relentless, he says that he's seen what happened to Tiger Woods. He worked with Tiger Woods, and the entire time he was thinking, why don't you just go up and own it?
Oh, yeah, you might
Just go up and say, hey, you know what?
Instead of denying that shit, just be...
Yeah, I was getting some pussy.
I was doing bad. I walked...
Look right on the camera and say, I was tearing that ass up.
Yeah, but he was married at the time. Maybe he should be like, yeah, I was an asshole. I'm a piece of shit. I ran around on my wife, and this is what I did. And you can slaughter me and say whatever the hell you want to say.
And then right at the end, he should look in the camera and say, but look at it from my point of view.
Oh my God! Stop, John.
Look at it from my point of view.
Stop.
No, he had to look at the camera right at the end and say, look at it from my point of view. I was horny.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That is horrible.
You guys know where I got that from. It's Me, Myself, and Irene. I don't know if you guys remember on Me, Myself, and Irene, where you got Jim Carrey,
yeah,
but he keeps turning into the character Hank.
Yeah.
Well, somehow like Hank ends up like pretending to be Jim or whatever his name. Me, Myself, and Irene. He starts pretending to be the nice guy and ends up fucking Irene.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, she realizes that it was Hank that did it.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you should look at it from my point of view. I was horny.
Oh, dear God. You're horrible.
Oh.
You're so horrible, John Hiley.
You know what, though? Charles Barkley, for instance.
God.
Well, listen, they talked
No,
about...
I like him.
In that book, Relentless, they talked about Charles Barkley. And in that book, apparently, Charles Barkley walked into a bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like a restaurant, and some guy ends up throwing water on him. And Charles Barkley ends up throwing him out of a window. Just... And from my understanding,
Well, it's provoking him.
Charles Barkley is not anybody you throw fucking water on.
That's a big dude.
It's just kind of like, for example, they talk about Tank Abbott. I don't know if some of you old UFC fight watchers, whatever.
Yeah.
They talk about, David Tank Abbott. He was the pit fighter, the dude that looked like a biker.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have any other skills than I get mad and fucking fight, right? And I'm sure he learned some stuff here and there. But, I mean, they literally said that it doesn't matter where the fuck you are. If you're in the back of that UFC, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are. If you pop lip off to Tank Abbott, he's going to attack you. It doesn't matter if you're in an airplane. It doesn't matter where it is. If you pop off lip to Tank Abbott, you're going to get fucking attacked right there on the spot.
That's why you're not supposed to
And that's the same thing with Charles Barkley. Now, get this. Charles Barkley goes to court. And as he's being sentenced, the judge asked him to, I don't know, whatever the judges ask you when you're sentenced, say your piece or whatever. What did you feel bad about? And he says that, and Charles Barkley stood up there and said the only thing that he felt bad about is he didn't drag him to the second floor and throw him out of a second-story window.
Well, obviously.
Now that's a motherfucker that stood up and said, "Fuck you." Yeah, guess what? I am a bad motherfucker. And guess what? If somebody throws water on me again, I'm going to throw them out the second story fucking window.
That's the thing. So, so we're talking about that. And that's just, one of the reality shows that I watch. It was, The Housewives of New Jersey. And there's this one lady that obviously doesn't like this other lady. But she's, constantly provoking her. And the first time she threw wine on her, and the other lady didn't do anything. She walked away, and then they're together again after so many episodes go by, and the lady throws water on her, and that other lady just she just lost. Well, she didn't lose it. The other lady had it coming. She basically grabbed her by her ponytail and then drug her around the. Mm-hmm. In the department store or something of that nature. But I'm just saying, you just can't do shit like that.
Yeah.
You can't poke the bear.
So, that being said, guys, a lot of you may have heard, I talked about this on the podcast, that, first off, I want to say, God bless, Kobe Bryant's family and all that stuff. And, man, terrible, horrible thing. And moving on from that, you guys heard on the previous podcast that I am writing a book. I was going to go over because I'm actually getting framework of the chapters. I'm actually on 28,267 words.
That's a lot of words.
It's less than a month. I will be well over, by the time we hit the 4th of next month, I will be 30 days into it. And when I hit the 4th of next month, I will be well over, I'm going to say, the 35,000 mark by that time. And so I'll be way ahead of schedule. And that being said, if you guys, I probably haven't said this yet, but it is going to be all about the Marketing Savage. And it is a book written about marketing, but I just wanted to go over a little bit about the chapters. And they're not completely finished, but I just want to keep you guys in the loop.
Some good stories in there, though, too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do got to go through, and I got some stories in there, but one of the things you guys got to realize is the things that people are going to remember the most are stories.
Yeah.
And you always want to, when you're trying to emphasize something specific or some sort of, something that you're teaching somebody, you're better off, teaching it and then also telling a story, and then teaching it and telling a story. It's just a way that people will remember stories, but they'll forget what you taught them.
Yeah, and I told John, I was like, don't worry, if you ever need help with some of the stories, I'll be more than happy to.
I think that's the problem with fucking, our educational system.
Yeah.
Is that, if you, math, for instance.
Yeah.
They ought to have some fucked up math stories about the time Albert Einstein ate LSD and figured out fucking, all this shit that he figured out.
He ate LSD?
Nah, but it'd be pretty cool if he did.
Oh, I was just saying, I don't think that stuff was around during his time, was it?
Mushrooms were around.
I've never ate LSD, so I think that's just a good thing for me.
It's been a long time since I've ate it.
Yeah, it's been a very long, long time.
Actually, it's probably been... Okay, so how long have we been together?
19 years.
19 years. It's been 18 years since I've ate it. Because I don't think I ate it after the first... I ate it sometime like the first year when we were together.
And I saved you when we were first together and you ate it. And I saved you. I was John's angel and I saved him.
Woo, that was a bad one. It was going south on me, guys.
Yeah.
I thought the couches were going to eat me. Everybody hated me where I was at. And it was just horrible.
I appeared out of nowhere and
sometimes
saved John.
That shit can go the wrong direction.
It went the wrong direction.
It will literally make you feel like you're in hell, pretty much, when that shit goes the wrong direction.
So when I came and saved you that night, did you feel better?
Yeah.
Did you feel safe?
Yeah, but I was still like paranoid as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there'd be another cool story to put in the math book, right? Something like that. So that being said, guys, I just want to tell y'all like what chapters I got, how I got them broke down. Actually starting off with kind of like the why, the why behind the book, and that's going to be, what is a marketing savage? And then I talk about the sink or swim mentality that it basically turned me into the marketing savage that I am today. You guys see it, y'all see it. I'm all up in when it comes to the things that we do. We get pretty intense with all of that stuff. I get pretty intense with all of that stuff.
Yes, you do.
And I love it. But in all honesty, it's the only way that when you really, really want to launch something in the marketplace, man, you got like something. I envision like what we were just talking about, like Kobe Bryant, like it literally takes over my body and I become like a nonstop machine, in that amount of time. Mm-hmm. I just can't go forever like that. I can turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off. But I just don't know what type of stress it would literally do to your body if you went full time, full on, all the time.
I don't think that would be a good thing.
I don't think it'd be very healthy.
No, it wouldn't.
But that being said, then we go into, I talk a lot about, what makes this marketing book way different than any other marketing book that's out there. And believe me, guys, I've probably read at least 100 or more marketing books. Mm-hmm. And what makes it different is that I spend a ample part of the book talking about your mindset. And where your mindset actually has to be to make these type of things work. Yeah. Because I could tell you all the hows, the tricks, the tips, the reasoning behind, why you do this or why you do that. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't have a mindset shift, then there's no way that you're going to be able to have the wherewithal to actually implement the how. It's the bottom line. Because, look, there's no lack of information out there on marketing. Mm-hmm. But when you accompany it with the proper mindset is what's actually going to, allow you to launch it into the marketplace or actually do the how, actually do the strategy. And the mindset department, I actually talk about, being self-aware is one of the keys. I talk about energy management, and I go deep. I know I talked about some of this stuff on the podcast, but I go deep into every chapter. We go into the system-driven mind. I go into the path to greatness. Some of these may change. I'm calling this one chapter the Thought Ninja, and that's and that's because I have loosely based a lot of it off of, my teachings from Master Stephen Hayes. And so a lot of the techniques and things like that are actually real ninjutsu practices that I'm implementing in the Thought Ninja chapter. I can give you one small example of that, guys. I can give you one small example of that, guys. There's a lot of books and things like that would just, kind of talk to you about the power of positive thinking. Yeah. The truth of the matter is, if you fall into the positive thinking cult where you're just running around oblivious to anything that's negative, the problem is shit can happen in your life, and because there's an example of somebody who I know recently that is having big time issues with his daughter simply because he's such a positive thinker that he can't get his mind out of that optimistic outlook to actually see that there's a problem.
Yeah.
So I talk a lot about the Thought Ninja, of how we understand that the world may not be 100% positive.
No.
We understand that there's going to be people that will try to take from us. There's going to be people that will give to us.
Yeah.
We understand all of that, but we choose to fill our minds with the certain positive thoughts because at the deepest level, we define everything that we perceive. And I would rather define something in a way that serves me than in a way that doesn't. Because you're not going to get anywhere with that constant negative bullshit, especially if you're talking to yourself in a negative way. But you got to be self-aware enough to know that you're putting these positive thoughts in your mind to achieve a specific goal, not to become one of them goofy Fruit Loops running around, woohooing everything, all gooey about everything in the world and acting all weird and shit. Tom Cruise jumping on a couch, shit.
It's like one of your favorite things to say.
Yeah, you're not doing it because of that. You don't want to handicap yourself, and it's not either or. You can have both. You can be self-aware, and you can understand people's intentions, and you can understand, but you can also choose to see things the way that you want to see it. You can give them your own definition that serves you.
Yeah.
And I go so deep into that. I mean, that chapter is probably, God, I want to say 4,000 words or something like that.
When you say ninja, it makes me giggle because when John was like into doing all this martial arts stuff for the longest time, like John has such an amazing imagination that, oh dear God, like it started driving me crazy after a while because you were constantly acting like a ninja.
Sneaking around the house.
I'm like, stop. It drove me crazy.
Oh, it was so fun.
And then anytime we had to go there because he was like getting a new belt and stuff like that, and they were doing all these like exercises and performances, like I'm just like, I can't like take this serious because I just think it's just John up there like playing, having a good time, using his imagination.
I will tell you guys the power in them. I would go to the normal. You had to go to the normal classes to graduate or whatever, like get belts and stuff like that. And I would go to them, but the real treasure was when I used to do private lessons with the highest level black belts in there.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. I mean, I got to learn so many things, like the depth culture. I got to learn so many of the deepest techniques that they taught at like the highest levels. Mm-hmm. I got to actually, I did a lot of work with the samurai sword.
I know you did, but the thing is like when you would come home and do this stuff, I didn't really get to see the serious side of all this stuff. I just got to see this, like, my husband, like...
Let's go do karate in the garage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, that being said, that is going to be a really interesting chapter. And just so you guys know, I may be leaking a little bit of this stuff here and there on some blogs. Mike tells me I should take some of the writings and put them into blogs, but then leave enough for the imagination to want to read the book. But enough value in the blogs where it'll be intriguing and interesting. The next, I talk about the truth about money. And then the next thing, I talk about my morning ritual, which is the spiritual surrender. And I go deep into that. I'm not going to say too much about that now because I've literally just opened myself up to the fact that I'm going to let everybody know exactly what I do as a morning ritual.
I love it. I think it's amazing. But when we were at Christmas, John was telling my dad about this. And my dad could not wrap his head. He couldn't wrap his head around it. He couldn't.
It's one of them things where it literally can do one or two things to people. It can either make them so uncomfortable they want to jump out of their seat.
Yeah.
Or they can actually open their mind and see the intention behind what I do.
Yeah.
And because
I love it. I think
there's and anybody who literally, like, look, guys, I read a lot of books about a lot of wealthy people, and I've been on stage and I've spoke with people that at marketing seminars that speak worldwide, and literally these people are doing and thinking on a different level. And I'm opening up some of the strategies that not only that I do, that they do, but a lot of these things, I don't even know anybody else that does them but me. And anytime I've actually opened up these strategies to people that have the mindset that can actually absorb what I'm telling them, they literally are just blown away with the morning routine. It honestly, when you read the book, it makes so much sense if you actually read through it and think about it, is all I can really tell you.
You were almost kind of like even a little hesitant to tell me because I honestly kind of felt like you thought that I was going to look at you in a really weird way. But then when you told me, I'm like, that's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, very, very unconventional strategies, but you actually find there's some other old time books. You actually find that some of these strategies were implemented from people like Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie, and in a different way. I've always been a kind of individual who, I consume what I've been taught, but then I usually contour it with what makes sense to me. And I talk about that in the book. I'm like, look, if you only did a few of these techniques and not all the ones that I'm getting ready to show you in my morning routine, I mean, just by creating a routine, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
And people don't realize like what you get accomplished first thing in the morning, it will literally be the big win that rides you through the rest of that day. So that right there, so far, that's the mindset and part of it. And then actually going into the teaching part of it, the how, I go into two segments that kind of mirror each other, but I had to break them apart because there's a difference there. And I kick it off with the marketing sociologist, meaning that it's when you actually study your market, you're kind of doing exactly what a sociologist would do. And you want to be able to do that with multiple markets and understand multiple responses. And it's a deeper look. It's like an overall look of not just your market, but an overall look at different cultures and different markets in general. Because sometimes you'll pitch your service to one market, like one demographic, like a woman, for instance. You'll pitch it to like maybe a female market, and that'll be your main target whenever you target females to purchase your services. And then you'll target male golfers to purchase your service. Or you'll target like male car club, whatever that car club thing is, where they coffees and cars and all that stuff. You'll target that type of crowd to purchase your service. Well, you're going to talk way different to an executive than you're going to speak to somebody who goes to car and coffee and maybe they, I don't know, own a tattoo studio or whatever, There's two different marketplaces there, and you got to understand, you got to be more of like a sociologist to understand that whenever you're doing your target market, you got to understand that's going to change based on who you're targeting.
Yeah.
And I go really deep into all the different aspects that you got to study to begin to understand the market. I mean, that's one of the keys, is that you need to understand your market at a very deep level, because you want to understand what triggers them, what compels them to purchase. You want to understand what their fears and frustrations are, and you want to be able to craft an offer that literally just shuts down any objection that they have in their mind. When they're done working their way through your offer, you want to be able to shut down every objection all the way through from the beginning to end. And a lot of times, guys, what you guys got to realize is that, for instance, over this weekend, people know that we're going to be launching our Dent Trainer business systems. I'm literally looking, when I'm talking to people about this, I'm going to talk to people, I'm going to tell them about it, tell them what's happening, and I'm looking for common objections. So I'm looking for something that says, well, then I would, does it have this? Or, does it have that? Or, I'm looking for, when I talk to people about it, I'm looking for what their common objections are, because I need to go back to my marketing drawing board and I need to incorporate value components that combat them common objections. Okay? So, and going into that, a value components, even digging a little bit deeper. I could literally, like I said, this is going through the whole book. And then I also talk about persuasion in this book. And it's so funny that most people actually associate that word with something negative, and it can be. I mean, in all honesty, if you're ripping somebody off, then if you're persuading them and you're ripping them off, it is negative. It's a lot. That word's a lot like a gun, I mean,
I like it when you persuade me.
Sure. Honestly, though, it's a lot like a gun. It's like people want to blame the word or the method behind the word, but the thing is, you guys are being persuaded every single day. You guys are
Yeah.
all being dictated by some sort of persuasion that's moving you in one direction or the other. And to actually ignore that that's happening, and to ignore that you need to persuade people to purchase your dent removal service, would be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And to go even further, to not go into the deep details, and there's actually 6 laws of persuasion that I cover, and it come from a guy, a last name Cialdini, that had a book. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe I'll remember it the next. But actually, the 6 laws of persuasion was developed by him like back in the 80s, and it was a book that was written to actually help consumers avoid being persuaded by scammers. But what had happened was all the marketers got a hold of it, and it became like a marketing like icon, you know.
Oh. Huh.
And like an iconic book in the marketing field, because it had, you know, it talks about the exact laws and the things that you want to incorporate, you know, inside of your offer or inside of your service. But in a sense, what it does is it gives you a great idea that when people come to your website or they come to your landing page, what elements do you want to have there to prove to them that you're an authority in your market and you're the only person that they want to buy from. Ideally, when you read that section, you're going to understand exactly what that is. And I even go through the details of, you know, the elements that, you know, you don't have to incorporate every element, but if you incorporate 4 of the 6 into your marketing, you're going to be way ahead of your competition. And when people come and they actually land and they see you, they're going to want to choose you because they're going to see you as the best. And so it's super important to have this in the book. Also have creating the irresistible offer. And you see how everything builds up. You know, you understand who your market is. You understand the laws of persuasion. And now you're to create your offer. You know, you're to actually build out exactly, you know, what you're selling to that individual and framework it in a way that they can actually consume it. And once you framework it in a way that they can consume it, you want to fill it with the laws of persuasion to persuade them to actually consume it, okay? The next one is lead generation. I talk about filling your funnel. And we'll go deeper and deeper. I could go on and on about funnels and things like that. But in a sense, lead generation, guys, at its is basically just the flow of traffic that you have, whether you're trying to get your phone to ring, whether you're trying to get emails, whether you're trying to get forum submissions, you know, whatever you're trying to do, actually getting them leads through and then creating a system that actually closes a specific percentage of them leads. Mm-hmm. You know, because that's one of the ways that you actually break it down to an exact science is when you understand how many leads, if you can push 100 leads through your website or through your funnel, you know, what percentage of them leads are you going to be able to close? You know, and on top of that, what is going to be your customer acquisition cost to fill them leads through your funnel? And how much money are you going to make off of the percentage that you close? So anyhow, next I go into a value ladder and creating additional value channels into your business. And then I go into actually the one thing that most paintless dent removal companies and most companies completely neglect and they completely forget is how to strengthen the actual tribe. So you get to focus on most folks just focus on bringing in new business and new clients, and then they completely forget to actually nurture the existing tribe and build and strengthen that tribe. And then the third phase of the book, I'm going to go into mentoring. You know, I want to talk about the mentoring thing. I want to talk about the coaching thing, and then I want to talk about what you do next and, you know, different channels of continued learning and things to that nature. So, what are you over there smiling about?
Nothing.
I'm trying to figure it out here. You're over there looking at me all goofy.
I was going to say something funny, and then you gave me this look like, how dare you have a smile on your face?
I'm trying to figure out what you were smiling
you
about.
You were being all like serious. You said something. I was just thinking of something funny or whatever. And then you get this look on your face and I'm like, so sorry. You're being so serious. And I'm just trying to be funny over here.
Now you guys see us getting in a fight on our podcast.
We're not getting in a
I cannot believe you guys caused a fight between me and my wife on our podcast.
We are not
Here
funny.
You guys had me talking serious.
All I was going to say was like,
And-
you can fill my funnel.
Shit, why did you say it?
Because because I didn't know when the right time for me to say that. That's all that was going through my head. Like, you kept saying funnel, and I'm like, oh, you can fill my funnel. And then you give me this death look, and then it makes me feel like...
I did not give her a death look.
Yes, you did. You gave me this look like, what the hell? Why you got a smile on your face over here?
I honestly can't believe that you guys out there made me give her that death look like that. You guys keep me so serious. What can I say?
Well, you were being extremely serious, and then you said funnel.
I'm wearing a fucking top hat for this show.
You ain't wearing
And it's not even being recorded.
You just spitted when you were talking.
I am spit a lot.
Oh, dear Lord, John Hiley. Sometimes you need to, loosen up a little bit more.
I feel like hitting you with a banana.
Why were you over there looking at the bananas for?
Because I was thinking about taking one and just
No, you're not going to hit
you on the
me
head with
a banana. You're not going to hit me with a banana.
Yeah.
You might eat one of the bananas. But you're not just going to hit me with a banana.
We'll see. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. So that being said, guys, I will continue to give you guys some teasers and stuff like that on the book. Massive amounts of stuff. Like what you guys heard was me just scraping the layer and giving you an overview. In this book, I go and I dig deep on every single one of these subjects.
Yes,
and I will guarantee you something, that things are going to be added to this, because as I'm going, what happens is when you write a book, you get this kind of like overall flow. Like the first thing I started with, I knew that I wanted to present the why. I knew that I wanted to present the what, and then also the how. And that's basically implemented in flows through three different segments throughout the book. But in each one of them segments, there's different chapters. And as I continue, what happens, you'll find yourself writing a chapter, and then you'll find yourself thinking about it. Then you'll find yourself doing research on specific subjects and coming in and writing a paragraph about a specific subject. But then you'll realize that actually needs to be its own chapter, and you'll end up writing a chapter based on the paragraph that you wrote. I mean, that's the type of stuff that happens when you start writing a book. So I find myself most days just kind of floating from top to bottom, looking at the entire thing and thinking about, where I need to add and what I need to, complete.
That's right.
So
I just didn't want to interrupt you.
I think I'm at a point now where I can read through everything, and I'm looking for specific stories that are going to accompany, a lot of the teachings. Mm-hmm. So I want to say probably in each chapter, I'm probably going to have like 3 to 4 stories, depending on how big the chapter is.
Yeah.
So and I truly believe I'm going to try to find some like unique shit. I don't really want to use all the cliche stories that have been floating around all the marketing books and stuff like that.
No, they'll be our stories.
Yeah, above and beyond that, our stories, but also different success stories that might, convey whatever message that I'm trying to drop on you at the moment. We got to put some juicy stuff in there too. Yeah.
Just messing with you, John.
All right, she's a turd.
I'm not a turd.
You've officially reached the level of turd.
Oh, dear Lord.
It's a good thing you live in the land of poop-a-lot.
I live in my own little bubble. I do live in my own little bubble. Hey, at least I'm in a better mood than I was over the weekend.
Well, that's what we need to start calling her, is Bubble Girl.
No, you are not calling me Bubble Girl.
You guys remember Bubble Boy? That movie Bubble Boy, that boy that was stuck in a bubble? We're going to call her... You just said you're in your own little bubble. Bubble Girl.
I am not a Bubble Girl.
Bubble Girl. What was I calling you the other day? Kangaroo?
Wait, didn't we have already talked about this kangaroo thing?
Hop on over here and give me a kiss, baby.
I don't want to be a kangaroo, damn it.
All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. I got to catch a plane, head on over to the Mobile Tech Expo, see all you motherfuckers there. Y'all better be listening to my podcast. Well, if you heard this, you are listening to it, so you're good to go. All right, everybody, appreciate you.
Hey, they need to be dropping us a review.
Write them reviews, y'all.
Yeah, we need to do a contest.
We need to do a T-shirt giveaway.
I know.
Hold back one of them Covenant and Gorilla Grips from this weekend sale. I'm getting ready to blow them out. Yeah, so I don't know.
Hot damn.
To be honest with you guys, I don't have a ton of them to sell right now, and I'm just trying to figure out how many of them Anson wants before I blow it out. If they take them all, forget that I ever said anything, and you're not going to see a sale. But if I have some available, you're going to see a sale.
That's true.
All right, everybody. Well, I appreciate it, and as usual, I'm gonna see you on that next one.
Bang bang.
Your vibe is your tribe.
I need to remember.